Hey, I'm back. Bernie Miklasz, second video of the day here on the Bernie Show channel on YouTube. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate all the likes. I appreciate all the comments. I got in there today, answered a few, joined the discussion. Appreciate you very much. And as the Cardinals are preparing to close out 500 type season, they got 4 games in Colorado and then 3 at San Francisco, unless I have that the other way around. It doesn't matter at this point. Anyway, I'm going to start doing more videos and, kind of maybe the second video of the day. It doesn't matter exactly if it's in that order, but second video of the day, I might start the process of sort of handing out awards, penalties, whatever you want to call it, for the 2024 season. We're talking about individual players or developments or areas, things like that. So I thought I'd start with, since it's been a disappointing season, I mean, not a truly hideous season, but certainly a disappointing season because the Cardinals really had enough pitching to make the playoffs. I'm not saying that their pitching was fantastic. The bullpen was fantastic. It was outstanding. And the starting pitching, while I'm not sitting here saying, well, it was great, really great. No, it was about, if you remember what we all thought going into the season about the starting pitching, we all had, I think, reasonable expectations. So I kind of judge it on that from the standpoint of like, well, what did we expect? What's the best we can sort of count on from these 3 free agent starters that John Mozeliak brought in, Sonny Gray, Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson. And if you think about it, even with Lance Lynn's knee injury and the time he missed, they did if I'm speaking for myself, pretty much did what I thought they would do. And it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. The point being, they pitched well enough to where if this team had a robust offense, and this team seriously had power, and Arenado and Goldschmidt did what they normally do, maybe not at the highest level, but at a pretty good level, instead of sort of collapsing in terms of power. If Gorman and Walker had taken another big, bold step forward, I mean, they would have had, and some other people, they would have had a really good offense, but it didn't work out. So the pitching wasn't good enough to carry the day. That's kind of my overview, very quick overview. We'll have a long one once the season is over, a longer one, I should say. So who are the most disappointing Cardinals in 2024? And nothing that happens over the next 7 days is 7 games is going to change that. It's still going to be the way they're ranked is going to be the way that they would be ranked after the final game. So the way I'm going to do this, I don't have any fancy graphics, maybe one day. What the heck, right? I'm running a mom and pop store here, just like my Polish grandparents did, right? You got to give their Polish grandson a break here. I'm not doing this to be fancy. I'm here to give you my opinions. Anyway, I'm going to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, except I got to get a little cute here because 5 and 4 are one entity, if you catch my drift. Like I can't, and I'll tell you who they are. 5 and 4, it's Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado. You can put them in any position you want. But we have to look at them as a tandem, but they are 5 and 4. See, I'm making this needlessly confusing. I'm going to read you some numbers, and I know numbers don't translate well on video without graphics and all that. I'm just an old school guy wearing an old school Bob Gibson signature cap. If you want to get the fancy bells and whistles and all the little tricks, plenty of places for you to do that. If you want to talk some serious Cardinals baseball, unfiltered, strong opinions, no self-censorship, no limits, no filters, backed up by statistical evidence and fact-based analysis. That's me. That's me. You're stuck with me. Thank you. But I'm going to give you a couple numbers, and it kind of shows you the way things have changed. In 2022, of course, Goldie won the MVP and Arenado finished third. 2022, 2 years ago. That year, those two, and I'm going to talk slowly because again, I'm giving some numbers so they're easier to absorb or digest if I'm not rushing through them. All right. In 2022, Goldschmidt and Arenado combined for 65 home runs. This year, as of now, they have combined for 37 home runs. So that's 28 fewer home runs between them than in 2022. With runs batted in, and I know that a lot of that's dependent upon how many guys are on base and how many guys are in scoring position. But RBI count to me matters. They drove in, the two of them, 218 runs in 2022. This year so far, 130 runs. That's a difference of minus 88 RBIs compared to 2022. You see where we're going with this? If you took their combined OPS plus in 2022, Goldschmidt and Arenado collectively were 64% above the league average offensively. 64% above the league average offensively. This year, right now, as I record this, they are collectively 3% below the league average offensively. So that's a difference of 67%, as in a 67% decline. A 67% decline from where they were 2 years ago. I mean, that's just like staggering if you think about it, right? Here's another one and final one. Extra base hits because they had a lot of doubles, even some triples that year in 2022. In 2022, those two, Goldie and Arenado, 149 extra base hits. This year, with 7 games left, 69 between them. That's 80 fewer extra base hits right now than they had in 2022. If this is Goldie's final year with the Cardinals, I'm assuming it is, but I don't trust the front office. You never know whoever's going to run it, or whatever they decide, whoever runs it. They may keep Goldie, under some idea that they need his leadership, or they think they can sell tickets because like he's some kind of legacy player. No disrespect to Goldie, much respect to him. He's not a legacy player. Let's not get carried away here. He joined the team in 2019. He did some really good things, including winning an MVP. And he was great in the 2019 NLDS series win over Atlanta. But it's been kind of a slow decline, gradual decline. But anyway, if Goldie is not here next season, if his Cardinals career ends in effect at the end of game number 162 this Sunday, they will have had Goldschmidt and Arenado, as you know, will have had 3 seasons together. 21, 22, 23. Excuse me, I messed that up. 4 seasons together. 21, 22, 23, 24. 4 seasons together, during which time the Cardinals have goose egg. Is that a goose egg? Probably not. It looks like, I don't know what the hell that looks like. Goose egg. No postseason wins. No postseason wins. 21, 22, 23, 24. 4 years, nothing. I would not have predicted that. Neither would you have, right? Just simply that seems impossible now to contemplate that this was even possible. But here we are. All right, so they are number 5 and number 4. Let's go to number 3. And I got mixed feelings on this one. When you hear the name, you'll nod in agreement. Well, yeah, he belongs on that list, but I would put him higher. Okay, that way, all these opinions count. I want all your opinions on this. Tell me how you would rank them 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Have at it. I don't think there's any wrong answers here. It's just a matter of what each of us think and what each of us agree with. If we disagree, hey, that's even better. That's what's fun about sports. We get to argue, not literally argue. We get to debate these things, or we get to compare notes and say, no, you're wrong. Here's why I say you're wrong. No, you're wrong. Here's why I say you're wrong. And that stuff's fun, man. It's one of the great things about sports. As they refer to it, it's like what you talk about when you're watching a game, hanging out, drinking a beer or whatever, or an iced tea. I don't care what you drink. When you're hanging out talking ball, these are the kind of things you get into. Number 3 on my list, and I'm conflicted about it because I don't really blame him. And number 3 is Miles Mikolas. And if you go back the last 2 years combined, listen, I don't want to hear about the innings. I know there's value in innings. I know that he's had a good number of quality starts. Get all that. I try to be fair. I try to look at everything. I'm pragmatic to a fault. But here's the bottom line for me. Since the start of last season, he's got the second worst ERA of any regular starting pitcher in the big leagues. It's 5.04. This year, his ERA, 5.35. He's also got either the lowest, or I think it is the lowest strikeout rate of any pitcher, starting pitcher in the majors, and also the lowest or next to last swing and miss rate of any starting pitcher in the majors. You say, well, Bernie, you said a minute ago, you don't necessarily blame him. What do you mean by that? Well, it's that old thing. He didn't sign himself to a contract, right? He didn't go into John Mozeliak's office and Bill DeWitt's office down in Jupiter and say, I filled this contract out, and you all are going to pay me about $17.5 million a year through 2024. Okay. Could you sign your names to this? We'll make it official. No, Mikolas didn't draw up the contract. The Cardinals drew up the contract. Ownership, management said, oh, we're going to keep you. How would you like it if we offer you this? And Mikolas probably said, oh, I need a minute to think about it. And when he said it, he needed a minute to think about it. He probably went to the nearest men's room and started laughing. I hope maybe covered his mouth as he was giggling that they were going to give him all this money. And then he came back in and, of course, signed that damn thing as quickly as he could before they changed their mind. But this is just a ridiculous situation they're in, because he's and I misspoke when I said I'm going to pay you $17.5 million through 2024. I meant to say 2025. I corrected myself. Better late than never. But anyway, they've got one more year of this. They got one more year of this of a guy who doesn't miss bats, and a guy that gives up increasingly harder contact. So the situation is not good. Okay. And they're going to have to pay him next year, pay him this kind of money again next season to pitch like this again next season, unless they can get someone to take Miles Mikolas off their hands, with the stipulation that the Cardinals are going to have to eat a lot of money, because no team is going to want that salary. They'll take part of it because there's like, hey, we need a fifth starter. We can put him in the back of the rotation. And oh, by the way, we have all kinds of tools, all kinds of resources. We think we can make him better. You can find a team that'll want to do that, I think, but you got to be willing to eat a big slice of that salary pie. So that's Miles Mikolas, number 3. So it's Arenado and Goldie as the 4 and 5 tandem. Mikolas, number 3. Number 2, I'd have to say Jordan Walker. And listen, I realize he's still a really young player, and they made the mistake of rushing him to the big leagues, bypassing AAA. AA straight to the majors last season. And he started off well. We all know what happened. He went to Memphis for a long time. Then he came back in to the big club. And if you look at his final 50 games last season, I'm talking about Jordan Walker. If you look at his final 50 games last season, he hit 291. He had a really fine 358 on base percentage. Nothing wrong with that. He slugged 478. Not a darn thing wrong with that. That's good stuff. Had 7 home runs, 2 triples, 9 doubles, drove in some runs. He was really, really good over the final 50 games of the season. And because of that, he ended a kind of up and down rookie season. At the end of 2023, his rookie campaign had a 276 average, a 342 on base percentage, a 445 slug, his OPS about 787. There's nothing wrong with that. That's good stuff for a guy making the jump from AA to the majors. That's really good, even with some bumps along the way. So I'm hardly alone. I thought that he was going to have a really terrific season this year. And, everything pointed to that because he had sort of corrected some of the issues with his swing. We saw him the last 50 games or so last season, just getting the ball off the ground and into the air more often. And that unlocked his power because he hits the ball hard. But you'd rather see him hitting the ball hard and far in the air than pounding it into the ground over and over again. I don't care how hard he hits it into the ground, it's still a ground ball. So that situation, I thought he had turned the corner, but this has been a disastrous season for the guy. And I haven't lost any faith in him, but I'm still kind of stunned it went this poorly. And there's no need for me to get into all the numbers. We know what they are. We know that he had to go to Memphis for a long time. They brought him up. They messed around with him. Always going to be a platoon bat. That's the manager. Where the president of baseball operations is saying, John Mozeliak is saying, well, if a young pitcher is going to be here with a big club, the expectation is that he'll play. He'll have to play if he's up here. And Ali Marmol had some different ideas. Going to make him a platoon bat. One of the dumbest things I've ever seen. So they got him, and Mo got him back out of here and got him down to Memphis because he wanted him to play. So he made some more progress, got another shot here at the big club, and then late in the season, I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's far from perfect, and he's striking out too much and all. But we saw the power. We saw it coming. We saw some good things potentially for him in 2025. We can't count on it because that would repeat what we were thinking at the end of last season in 2023. Oh man, he's set up to have a big time season in 2024. So I'm not going to make that prediction. I'm just saying he was showing some signs of figuring it out again. And I think there's a reason to have some optimism, but he will be a very big part of how good the offense is for the Cardinals in 2025. Either big part as in bad or a big part as in elevating the offense. This leads me to number one. You can probably figure out who that is. And no, you Wilson Contreras haters, it ain't Wilson Contreras, okay? I got to go with my guy, and it's my guy because, man, tracking him in the minors, excited by his talent, his power, all that good stuff. Got to be Nolan Gorman. And it's to the point where I don't know what to expect from Nolan Gorman at all. I don't even know if he'll be here next season. You notice they didn't bring him up after they sent him to Memphis. It did no kind of like, well, here's a vote of confidence. We still believe in you, son. Come on up and join us for the final, 2 weeks, something like, no, that's all right. You can stay down there. Right. I am honestly stunned by what's happened to him in 2024. And let me explain why. And again, I got to give you numbers. It's the only way to really put it into context. First of all, you look at last season, right? His second big league season. He's 23 years old. He had the old peaks and valleys and all that, but the bottom line is he hit 27 homers and had a 478 slugging percentage, and it was his first full season in the big leagues, right? And you're like, listen, he figured some stuff out, and even with the 32%, 31% strikeout rate, those power numbers, you'll take that. You will absolutely take that. And he started off this season. See, people forget, and even I did, to the extent of how good he was early on. But through June 4th of this season, through June 4th, he was slugging 508. At the end of the game, whatever game that was on June the 4th, he was slugging 508. That was a continuation of what he did last season, except even better. And this is a year where slugging was down in the major leagues across the board. So he slugged 478 last season, and in a year where slugging was going down, he was slugging 508 about 2 months and a week into the season. And you thought, okay, he's on his way. And he was hitting home runs, or I think he led the Cardinals in home runs at that time. You had a lot to be excited about. So what I did is I went back to the start of 2023, and then I added his start in 2024 through June the 4th. And at that time, since the start of 2023, he had a 487 slugging percentage. He was about 22% above league average offensively. He had an 813 OPS and 41 home runs and 589 at bats, which means from the start of last season through June 4th of this season, Nolan Gorman was hitting a home run every 14 at bats. That's good. That's really good. Hitting a bomb every 14 at bats, right? What the heck happened? Well, swing and a miss. Oh, there he goes. He looks at strike three. Here's a pitch right down the middle. Oh, 0-1. Here's another pitch. Right, meatball right down the middle. Oh, he's down 0-2. Oh, they're going to throw one in the dirt. Oh, here it comes. Oh, yeah, they bounced one. He swung at it, strikeout. I mean, the guy just became completely unmoored. I mean, I just lost it. These numbers are just ridiculous. We knew them at the time, but to just recite them again, from June 5th until the time he was demoted mercifully to Memphis, right? In the final 54 games he played for the Cardinals this year, Gorman hit 170. He had 5 home runs and 182 at bats, which means in his final 54 games, he homered every 36.5 at bats compared to where he was hitting a homer every 14 at bats through June the 4th since the start of last year. And his slugging percentage in the final 54 games was .291. I mean, I think in fact, I would bet that Pete Kozma, the year he was the Cardinals starting shortstop, had a higher slugging percentage than that. I'm pretty sure he was in the low 300s. So the worst thing of all is in these final 54 games before they sent him down, Nolan Gorman had a strikeout rate of 40%. Completely lost it. Just completely lost it. And how do they fix him? They could not fix him at the major league level. With the new farm system in place, the new player development people in place, I'm thinking a lot of new coaches in St. Louis, especially hitting coaches. And if they don't change that out, what's the point of even putting a damn team on the field? Okay. You're going to just ride with the same people in the dugout. Really? I don't think they will, but just the thought of it, as you can tell, irritates me. So Goldschmidt and Arenado, 5-4. Miles Mikolas, number 3. Jordan Walker, number 2. Nolan Gorman, number 1. Most disappointing Cardinal in 2024. Who else would you put on the list? Lars Nootbaar, to an extent, not to the magnitude of these guys, but he was a disappointing player. There's no doubt about it. And we could try to get cute with some other things, right? Dylan Carlson. Well, listen, maybe from the context that he had a good spring, he looked stronger, looked like maybe he was at least going to have a shot at having a decent campaign. And then Walker ran into him in that final exhibition game. He hurt his shoulder, and then he basically did nothing until they traded him away in a giveaway to Tampa Bay. So if you want to put him on the list, I got no problems with that. I wanted to limit my list to 5, but I'm sure you got some other ideas, and I'd be curious to hear them, or I should say read them. But anyway, thank you for watching as always. Please subscribe, tell your friends about us, and please hit that like button. And I look forward later tonight to reading your comments on my dissertation of the most disappointing Cardinal in 2024. That'll do it for today. Back at you tomorrow, I promise. Thank you.